Thank you very much. My name is Mboya from Unga Holdings, and I'm going to share with you about our material automation project, which was a continual improvement project that we did so as to improve the way we operate our web bridge. Next slide. Yeah, so basically this is the project description. So it was a custom software development that was aimed at helping us to achieve automation in the both inbound and outbound material management, that is at the web bridge, and then directly interface the data with SAP. Yeah. So in terms of the core implementation team, I'm really not a core implementation team member, but for political reasons I'm here. Yeah, so as the sponsor, that's me. And then the key people who are involved, my team members who are here, Ronald Uma, maybe Uma you can just, yeah, and Emmanuel Kimathi. Yeah, so our digital transformation manager maybe was not involved, but you can also, Tengisa Kidogo. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah. So basically the rationale was we had a system which is called Bridgeman. And that solution had so many issues that we were facing as a company. And most of the time, you would find that somebody like Ouma and Kimathi, at any time, they needed to be accessible, whether it's Saturday or Sunday when users are working. So it became a problem. I know we've been calling Ouma when he's in Uganda several times, and we thought that it was not healthy for business. So one, there were so many touch points. So like if you look at this is the old web bridge system. So you can see there are so many areas where the system had to interface in order between the web bridge and eventually getting the data into SAP. And that was affecting, creating errors in the process. Then the setup was also very, very technical. So you'd find that if any of them, let's say Uma was not there, then basically you would have a case whereby we are not able to, the material was not able to move across within the sites, and sometimes we had to actually physically move a truck to another site for them to be able to weigh or to weigh in or weigh out, and that was really very poor. Then in terms of support, we would always have challenges whenever there were any amendments that we needed in the system. Working with the vendor, I think the vendor also didn't employ the right people. I think maintaining good programmers is a problem. So you'll find that whenever we needed changes, it would cost us a lot more, both on the Bridgeman side and also on the SAP side in terms of an ABAPA. And then, of course, the time taken was also quite a lot, and that was making things inefficient. Then there were also security in terms of reliability. So we were being forced sometimes to weigh manually, and whenever you weigh manually, there's a possibility that you are going to lose. People are very mischievous, so they can indicate that they've weighed in maybe a lot of material, but maybe what they've weighed in is very little. Yeah, so there was a lot of security issues, and then of course the issue of, so that's why we are talking about the Pokayoke. There was no, in Kaizen, Pokayoke means error proofing, so there was no error proofing. Then in terms of efficiency, it was inefficient in the sense that sometimes the system would take data transfer between the web bridge and would take up to 45 minutes, and that was delaying the business process. You can imagine 15 minutes of time wasted in a site. That's massive. Yeah. Next. Yeah. So this is in terms of the design. We opted to have the solution in-house for one, because we knew that both Uma and Kimathi understood our business process. So it was going to be easier for them to come up with something for us. And two, we felt that if you have somebody in-house, then it makes it, one, in terms of we have the competence internally, and it enables the resources to develop their skills even further. So more motivation, and two, to reduce the issue of support. And then also just a challenge for them now that they've designed something that is actually being used totally in the company. I think it's something to be proud of. And then also the issue of the direct interface with the SAP. So initially you'd find that the SAP was, because of the movement across systems, you'd find cases whereby sometimes the system, the web bridge data and SAP were not in sync, and that was a problem. Then, so in terms of SAP, we were also striving to avoid, I think they used, Kimathi used .NET and BAPI to do this implementation, and in so doing, we were able to reduce, actually eliminate. There was no need for us to make a custom development in SAP. You know, when you make a custom development in SAP, then in case of future upgrades, then you could have challenges. Maybe next slide. Yeah, so this was the methodology. So the methodology used was the rapid application deployment methodology. But basically, whether I know some people here prefer to use maybe the SAP methodology or the structured systems analysis and design methodology, whichever methodology you use, basically, I think the end justifies the means. So basically, you do the initial analysis, and then you have a place whereby you have a cycle where you develop, then you check whether it's meeting your requirements, and then you refine it further, and then after that, you do the cycle as many times as possible, and then you go to testing and eventual deployment. So this project started last year, and maybe you can correct me, and I think it took about, actually about 6 months in total, because we actually had to poach Kimathi. Kimathi was actually in audit, yeah? So we poached him from audit into IT. Yeah, next. Yeah, so this just to show the difference in terms of the design between the old system. You can see the kind of touch points, several touch points, and then when you compare with the new solution, which is just between the user and SAP directly, and the only connection to the web bridge is the use of the BAPIs. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, so this one, in terms of features, if you compare what I would like you to see from here is just that there are some aspects which the old system was not able to do, like from number 8 up to number 14, which we are now able to do with the new system. And I think this has been very good for the business. Next slide. Yeah. So in terms of benefits, one, we've reduced the learning curve. Basically, I can't see. Yeah. The users, basically the developers are internal, and we are not using people from outside who would come and start learning. So that was easier. And then in terms of speed, we've been able to improve the speed of execution at the web bridge, and our users are very happy with this. And then we've also, before we used to have cases whereby vendors were getting blocked at the web bridge because of that lack of synchronization, and that could actually cost. I remember there was a time when a vendor actually called me and told me he had been at our premises for a whole day. So can you imagine that kind of embarrassment? Yeah, yeah. So the error proofing helped us to resolve those kind of issues. And then in terms of turnaround time, also it was improved significantly. I believe in next slide you'll be able to see the data. And then also we've improved the security. We are using a SAP single sign-on. It's basically it issues out tokens so that we can improve the security around SAP. So we were able to, by doing this thing using the BAPIs and .NET, we were able to make use of the SAP SSO without acquiring additional licenses for the users. Otherwise, we are supposed to have both separate licenses for the users. And then in terms of paper use, we've also been able to eliminate paper usage. And maybe, yeah, next slide. So in terms of maybe numbers, when you look at the development cost, basically the savings that we would have incurred, about 5 million on using an ABAPA to develop this, but we did it in-house. And then in terms of paper usage, we are now 100% digital there. And so this is the estimated estimated savings on paper as at the moment, and this is a continual saving in that we are going to continue getting this kind of saving as we go on, and then because we are not spending any more money on the cartridges, so that is the estimate, and then the manual weighing. Before we would have manual weighing up to a quarter of the time, so that is 23%, and this has reduced to below 2%. Actually, I think it's almost zero. Yeah. Then the data transfer time has been reduced from 45 minutes to 5 seconds. You can imagine that kind of turnaround. I'm sure the users, not surprising, we actually won in our company internal competition for Kaizen. We usually have a Kaizen competition every year, and this project actually won. Then in terms of pending approvals, also this was sorted 100%. Then we saved on the cost of acquiring license for sub-single sign-on. So, sorry, I think it jumped. On average, about 300,000 per year, which you could have been spending in terms of sub-SSO. Then even that one. So basically, lastly, there is no extra cost on in terms of upgrades. In case of any upgrades, Kimathi, our developer, can just do it in-house within certain parameters. So we don't have to involve the vendor. So basically, this is actually it. Maybe next slide. So the key selling point for us is that with this solution, we've been able to, one, completely, this is an area which was a real pain area for us in the business. And I think it kept, every time we used to look at the IT tickets, you would see Webbridge. Yeah? And we thought that it's what maybe in ITIL was now being called a problem. Yeah, so sorting it out has been quite a good achievement for us, and I'm very grateful for this brilliant team for executing it. Thank you very much. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, so maybe if there are any questions or comments. Yeah.
In case SAP is down, do you guys have a manual workaround?
SAP, okay, in our case, SAP cannot be down because one, we have SAP at our head office, and then we have like a DR at Liquid Telecom, so which is collocated. So either at any one time, one will be up here. Yeah. So I think in terms of what am I saying, maybe just to share from a certain experience I had before when I was working in an oil company, and we had a very bright chap in Rwanda. So what he would do, he was a finance guy. What he would do, he would set up the system in the morning because the system was not integrated to our SAP. So he sells, then it reaches around 4 o'clock. He restores the system as at the morning. Then he decides what he's going to put in the system. So by the time we discovered the guy after about 5 years, you can imagine the damage. The damage the guy had caused there. Yeah, so I think that direct integration with SAP is very key for us.